All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I know it's 2024 and it's a Monday, but we're actually starting off this week with another live watch list. So last week, if you remember, we were opening up down 6%. It was the worst day in Japan in a very, very long time. We figured we were watch the futures and see what's going down, and we did a live watch list, but tonight, given we are still having a pretty eventful week, we actually have some big data tomorrow. There is actually Donald Trump and Elon Musk tonight. So the beauty is that what went down today, I think there's a couple of things we can explain. It's very simple and straightforward. It really sets us up for tomorrow, but it was borderline a very, very weird day. I'm telling you how it ended up playing out and where things are at, considering it was just 1 week ago we were going crazy. It is wild to see where we are at right now. So what we're going to be doing here, if you are used to the normal watch list, have no fear, my brother. It will be, or sister, it will be a normal watch list. We're going to do the same thing. We got the keys, the plays, all that good stuff. I am going to be live, so I got to say hello to the glorious, beautiful Chad. And then, as it begins, we are going to be listening here to young Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Now, if it takes too long, I'll just end it and get into the watch list, so the timing might be a little weird. So let me see where they're at, but in the meantime, what's up, baby? What's going on, Chad? Good evening, baby. It started already? Oh, no way. Am I behind? Hold on. I think it says data not available. I think it already crashed. I don't think the site could hold it, baby. So in the meantime, what up, Flav? What up, Mayhem? El Trapato, Blizzy, Carabel, Brian, Jake for State Farm, baby. Young Ugly Angel, Michael Pila, Lucky Soldier, baby. Good evening. What up, Cotton? What up, Carabel? What up, Joe? Chip, Dr. Merck, Natalia. What up, Jared, Derek, Braden, William, CYB. What up, Vegas? What up, Nard? Malik in the house, baby. Good evening. Happy Monday, baby. Jared, Wood, y'all. It's a Monday. Are you kidding me? It's a Monday, you guys. A Monday. What up? What's up, player? What up, Zoraj? What up, Shasta? What up, Michael Ocean? Real talk, baby. Cheese Whiz. Eric Nunez. Jiggly. Intel support. Oh, no. Intel support hung up on me, bro. They show me no love, bro. I don't even know if that was Intel support, bro. Intel needs support. Yeah, bro. I think this whole thing is out, man. So, Chatadonia, we will use this to our advantage. So like I said, if you're used to the normal live watch list, man, it's pretty much the same old watch list. And then we get to go into everything live. So the fact that we could listen to all of this tonight, I think it's going to be very interesting. So you guys want to do me a favor? All of my people who are live here, how many people we got in here, man? I didn't even like the video. Oh my gosh, there's almost 1,000 of you? Are you kidding me? It's not my birthday, but thank you, my friend. Wow. So almost 1,000 of you beautiful souls. That's awesome. So here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. Do me a favor. Whenever this Trump thing starts working, you guys let me know. Does that sound like a deal? Do you guys think you can handle that? Are we good to go? That sound good? Oh, we're here for it, baby. But that sound good? X is broken. Yeah, it seems like it's broken. I don't know if you see it on screen. Nothing is loading. I'll probably get a headline coming across the wire too. But that sound good? All right, perfect. So somebody give me a checkup once this thing starts working, but this is kind of an opportunity because now we could knock out the watch list and then end it with watching Trump and Elon. So here's the deal. Today was a really weird day. Why? Because it was a very low volume, low movement day. I think there was over like 7 or 8 30-point swings back and forth. So it did feel like there was movement. If you were one of the scalping crowds and you wanted to go after some arbitrage, you really could have. But what I want you to understand here, compare last week. We are under the backdrop of what happened last week. The Japan situation, it's gotten a little bit better, but people cannot confidently say it's over. Is it the number one theme of this week? No, that data is going to be what we get tomorrow and with the CPI. That's what has people the most focused here. But what I want you to realize is how awkward the feed, how everything is just feeding into one another and the follow through. So what I want you to get is today, to start off the week, a lot calmer than last week. and it was lower volume, lower volatility. The VIX fell back below 20, and it's weird because the market was a lot less volatile than 20. But go look back at last week. Last week, you had the VIX at 70, and you would have thought somebody would have blown up or a bank would have went bust, and nothing really happened. Think about how bad last week was, and now we're here today without any intervention, no stimulus check as people were talking, and rate cuts and all of that. So it's a pretty wild dynamic. The extremes of it feels worse than what it is, and it feels less or more calm than what it is. We came back to this volatility, but today was really weird in that sense because volatility was out the window. However, it makes a lot of sense. We still need to see what happens overseas. Yes, there was a holiday in Japan, so they're opening up now. And quite frankly, the big data that we get, it is going to be here in the next couple of days. So that's the beauty of it. I think today was kind of a burn one. And again, that holiday in Japan, that really calmed things down. We will see. Right now, do you guys see what chart do you have on here? I have the keys, but literally as this live started here at 5 o'clock, the futures in Japan are opening up right now. So we'll finally see how things play out on a normal day. But for the most part, I do think it will boil down to the data this week, and that'll give us a little bit more. So this is still a weird follow through from last week. We are doing a lot better. Things are stabilizing, but now it is going to be a story of the data. And quite simply, the PPI tomorrow, that is going to be the main thing you're going to be looking for. So if it comes in low, that's going to be good. If it comes in high, that's going to be a problem. And what I'm looking for is a divergence between the PPI and the CPI, meaning I think the PPI and then the CPI is going to, one of them is going to come in higher than the other. So I don't think it'll be too much of a difference. But if there is one thing that I could point out for the data that we're going to be getting tomorrow, there's like one big thing that I would point out. Let's see. I don't know if you guys will know. Damn, did this thing already crash? What happened? Is Twitter like really out? Donald Trump? It says it's on there, but it's not loading. Yeah, I don't know if is it working? Yeah. I don't know. Mine's like hella laggy, bro. I think Donald Trump just broke Twitter. It doesn't make any sense though. Cause doesn't Donald Trump have his own website? And he show up on it every day? How come he don't break it? Does that make sense? Yeah, X is crashing. Well, that being said, while I try to get this to load, pop quiz for tomorrow and the PPI. Does anybody know what the PPI? There's a pop quiz that is related to tomorrow. What do you really need to be watching out for with tomorrow and the PPI? If anything's going to cause a big problem, what would it be? Not core. Well, obviously core is important, and the beauty is that whatever happens tomorrow, again, CPI should be more important, but there's something about it. Join spaces anonymously. Not services. All of those factors will be important, though. Like services and employment, I do think you should look out for it, so I wouldn't completely say to write those off. Maybe deflation, but how so? Not the month over month. You guys are smart though. These are all great answers. I don't think any of these are bad answers. Not car insurance. PPI is producer prices. So CPI will get the car prices and all that. Mine won't even load. Look at my Twitter is crashed, bro. I can't even go through this. Do you see this? I keep referring. My Twitter is gray. Do you guys see that gray overlay? It's putting up old tweets, and I see the spaces. It says 100. The number keeps going up every time I refresh, but see, 200,000. I feel like I'm in a club and I'm locked out. I feel like this is the Busta Rhymes. How you staring at the club when you can't even get in? Yeah, I don't know. But I just feel like I can't look at. Do you see the gray overlay? Look at 3,000 people join every single time. I'm just trying to get me and my 1,000 people in. Come on. That's it. This is I'm trying to walk in with 1,000 dudes. I'm like, yo, just me and my 1,000 homies. Just let us in. Come on, bro. We're chill. Who do you know here? I know Elon. I'm his neighbor. I'm technically. Come on. Why see? Look at you guys see that. The number keeps going up. The number keeps going up, but I can't get... Oh, start listening. Listen anonymously. Where is it? What the fuck? Yo! Oh. What is this? Yes. They try to bring me down. Then I said I run again. Yeah, turn me up. No. Turn me up in the mic. Turn up the headphones. Can you hear me out there? Taylor gang. Trump gang. It's real Trump shit. Hell Baghdadi. He died like a dog. Then I got shit on me. Try to lock me up. They try to shoot me. Try to bring a good guy down. What is this awful, awful music? Okay. So I'm in. I got us in. They let me and my 1,000 friends in. I'll play it once this like crazy. Oh yeah, do you want me to get rid of the wire? Once this god awful music dissipates, I will be happy to play it for you guys. But here's the deal: your pop quiz for tomorrow, because again, this is a weird live ADHD watch list. Some of you are used to it, but the pop quiz is that tomorrow with the PPI and also the CPI. Remember, too low is very bad. Do you understand? So if the number comes in way too low on PPI or CPI, people will be worried about the deflation. That's why I said some of you guys are right with that. Yeah, so that's all you got to keep your eyes out for when it comes down to the data. Otherwise, it should be very, very simple. Again, slower data, inflation coming down, that's good news. Inflation coming up will be bad news. Anything moderate will be... Hello, moderate's good. Anything moderate will be chill. And then that's it. And that's it. No, PPI is tomorrow. CPI and retail sales is going to be on Wednesday. So it's a back-to-back. Tomorrow you get PPI data. Wednesday you get CPI data. And then Friday you get Michigan consumer sentiment. And I think there's one more set of data too. Oh. This is from Donald Trump. Oh, you guys don't hear it? I still have the music. I'm chiming in and out. I'm trying to see. Exactly. I'm ready to go. Exactly. I feel like we're going to hear Donald Trump on Twitter. Last time he was there was a riot at the Capitol. Now, what would you say about that? Now, where's Michael Pence after all? Exactly. But now we'll see what's this god-awful music. Seems like they're trying to summon a Zuckerberg lizard. What kind of music is it? It sounds like they're doing mushrooms and drugs out there on a mountain. I think they call it EDM. It sounds like EDM. Out in Vegas. It's disgusting. Wearing lollipops and eating bracelets. So, yeah, they are about 15 minutes late. So, we have gone through most of the watch list. That being said, I do have 2 plays. I made a couple of earnings plays for today. Again, we're going to bounce back and forth. But Baba and bonds. So, one, Baba, I did go with a pre-earnings play. I forgot exactly which one I ended up going with. I grabbed 5 of the August $90 calls. I think these are a little bit around 2 standard deviations, but I'm going to be selling out on the pre-earnings. But essentially, I like I said, China and everything yesterday. The only thing of why I'm saying I feel dirty about it is simply because I don't want to play anything except for the bonds and the yen. Jeez, it's still. Do you guys hear that? Yeah. So again, I'm trying to give you guys your watch list as this is not starting yet. But so Baba, that was the first play. Those August ones, not a recommendation. You will lose money. And then I want you guys to notice bonds and TLT. So I think this is just a really good lesson here because if you remember, a couple days ago we bought those TLTs and we bottom ticked it right after the auction. TLT literally hit a low there in the last couple of days, and we got a perfect snag. And so far, TLT is up almost $2 a share since we bought our options. But given the volatility, even though we perfectly timed the TLT calls, those options are only up like 15%. And this is why I've been saying here, with some of the options and like some of the futures, there's a reason why I like the dollar for dollar. If you were on TLT, you would have made $2 a share. If you were on the ZB, you probably would have made like $1,200 or $1,400. And then if you were on the options, you made a lot smaller because of the IV. So just keep this in mind. Again, I do think there's going to be a lot of TLT plays back and forth. So I wouldn't get too discouraged, but be wise as you are looking for those opportunities. So that being said, that is all I have. If you guys have any questions, you let me know. But now we're going to go back to trying to listen to this. But is there any questions while I have the music in the background? This is weird. How many people are in here? Do you guys know yet? Ever since I joined, it doesn't tell me how many people are in here. But last time I checked, it was 200,000. And Twitter was crashing. I had to refresh a lot to get in there. Yo, Danya Slama. What's good, bro? Been busy with my no job. Oh, let's go, baby. Make the stream paying my like tax, baby. What are we live on Monday for, though? Oh, we're live because of this Donald Trump thing. I thought it'd be interesting. And, today was a very calm day. I don't think we had to have too crazy of a watch list. And last week, there was massive amounts of volatility. So we went live. And this week, it was a massive amount of non-volatility with Donald Trump. So I thought it'd be a interesting dichotomy to go live. But here we are. So figured I'd stay. We gone through the watch list already, though. And then we're going to see how this all plays out with young Donald Trump, baby. Donald and Elon. But right now, they're about 18 minutes behind schedule with the craziest loop. This, do you hear this? It's still looping. Do you guys hear that in the background? How does it sound? Or because I haven't muted on the OBS, but it should be playing through my speakers. Did you hear it? You can't hear it? Oh, then you're good. You need it. But do you hear it vaguely? It is kind of creepy. I feel like I'm going insane, to be honest. I feel like this isn't real. This isn't my normal schedule. I'm waiting for Elon. I feel like this is some weird psyop shit, bro. I feel like I'm being hypnotized. Bro, listen, man, if I wake up tomorrow morning saying something about border control this, border control that, you know this shit was some mind control, okay? That's all I'm saying. Just make sure, because this is kind of weird. It's been looping over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I can't stop. Elon just tweeted that they're being DDoSed. Well, how are they playing this awesome loop? I think they're DDoSing my mind, bro. I am going to be voting. I'm going to be voting for Donald, but I don't know. If this turns me into a hardcore Republican, then something's wrong. Do you guys don't hear this? I'm going insane. You got kicked out? It took me a while. Oh, is that the ending? Oh my gosh. Yo, they added a beat. That's kind of cool now. That's how we need it. It's fresh. It's funky. Hey, Josh. It's good to be here. Hold on. They're DDoSing me. How do you say DDoS? Is it a DDoS? DDoS? A DDoS. DDoS attack. I wonder. It's probably Camilla. DDoS. I'm being DDoS attacked. First, they wanted to weaponize the DOJ. Now they've weaponized the DDoS. Denial of service. They denied me a lot. I know. They got... What is this, 2011? Damn, bro. Did you just make fun of their method of cyber attack? Man, I wish we could shame people into not like doing that. Imagine you could like shame people into not like doing ransomware. Like, what is this, 2018, 2016? You're gonna do ransomware and listen to Fetty Wap? I say, hey, what's up, hello? This probably sounds a lot weirder with me because I hear a lot more music than you guys hear. 1738. Yeah. Dude, I'm going insane right now. This is nuts. This music is crazy. Shit. This is what it sounds like. That's what I was saying, bro. This is what I hear. Now you probably hear it a little louder. You're probably going insane now, too. I'm telling you, you all gonna wake up just yelling border control. It's gonna be fucked. Okay. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. I gotta mute it. I can't do it. No, not even hotel. That's kind of relaxing. Jeez, dude. What kind of trauma do you live through on a day-to-day? What do you mean that's relaxing? That's not even like... That's like no, man. That's like a build-up in a movie. That's like computers doing drugs. It's not even like, no, man. No way that's like relaxing is like a river, you know, like water, like dropping, like ocean. That's not bim 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 bim. That's like that little game, that like xylophone that the little kids have in like every child nursery. Y'all don't, and y'all be like, that's relaxing. Elon canceled it? You're kidding. They were hacked? There's no way. Do like, you know, forgive me, but like, do like liberals know how to do that shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess so. They're a little more nerdier. They just can't be out in the sun, I guess. Never mind. But I'm like, no way. You mean Twitter just got beat by liberal hackers? That's crazy. All of Berkeley is liberal? I guess, but you don't got like a conservative like. I'm laughing because you don't have like a conservative like Kyle Rittenhouse hacker. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kyle Rittenhouse version of a conservative hack that doesn't exist. I'm just wondering. I don't know. That joke might be. I don't know. It's been a couple years. I don't know if I think I could say that joke, but I guess not. I guess not. Some script kidding, but like taking out Twitter. Dude, it's still going. I'm in. I got in. I don't want to leave. I feel like they let me in, so I got in here. They're DDoS. A DDoS is when like a bunch of like computers send requests to access a site. So it's a denial of service. It's like flooding a website with a bunch of fake requests to access it, so it just gets flooded. Like legitimately, like this is what people used to do, like video game shit, like back in the day. Like, I used to learn about this in Halo. Like, I got DDoSed once, you know that? It was so whack. I fucked some kid up in Halo, and he DDoSed me. I couldn't get on my internet for, like, an hour. So, it's not really, like, sophisticated. Like, believe it or not. Like, it's, like, one of the oldest tricks in the book. Yeah, and, like, I mean, nowadays, it's pretty easy to mitigate, like, with, like, Cloudflare. Shit like that. It's kind of weird. Like it doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, but like if you had like Netflare or Cloudflare or like anything, you should be able to stop it. Like it's not. This isn't like a. Oh, you guys still hear it? Oh, that's crazy. I don't hear it, but you hear it. because I didn't mute it. That's crazy. So you guys heard that the whole time? I didn't hear it. That was awesome. You're cool with it? Yeah, bro, you're totally... He's going crazy. Like, I feel like... This is just a weird... I feel like I'm smoking spice. This is not chill. This feels like a never-ending weird loop, and it won't stop. I'm here for an event, and I don't know. It's been like 29 minutes, man, and I don't... This feels really uncomfortable. This is weird, bro. This is just a weird cycle and over. It's a weird loop, bro. This is a weird loop. I don't like it. Is it canceled? I don't want to like exit out, but let's see. There appears to be a massive DDoS on X, working on shutting it down. Worst case, we'll proceed with the smaller number of live listeners and post it later. We tested it with 8 million listeners yesterday. That's... Damn, that was 40 minutes ago. It's Dems fighting to save democracy. He said, yeah. I love how he's in the middle of like, this is all going crazy. Jeez, man, shut this fucking music up. Sorry. I can only handle it in bursts. But I feel like he's like in the middle. He's in the middle of like getting this up, and they're just like, it's the Democrats, and then he's like, yeah, I love it. So yeah, these are his latest tweets. Apparently, he didn't cancel it, but they're blaming the Democrats, and it's a DDoS attack. He said they tested it with 8 million listeners, but there's nothing so far. Nothing so far. You're back? Is it working again? I had to mute that shit for a little bit, bro. It was kind of intense, but no. Yeah, no, it's not there. If you guys could hear it, if you guys like the music. I could only do so much. But this is literally what's playing in the background. Enjoying that 20K. I'm afraid I have another tab open, but yeah, I don't want to leave. I'm in it. That's what this crazy music in the background is, but I don't know. It's been a long time, man. It's been a solid 30 minutes. So you could have watched like a TV show of anything. You know, like a TV show without commercials is about 26 minutes for a sitcom. Wow, I did some good intros. You missed it. Go to YouTube. Yeah, wait, why is that trending? That's hilarious. Well, we are on YouTube right now. Oh, was there another tweet? 2 minutes will proceed with a smaller number of concurrent listeners at 5:30 and then post the unedited audio immediately after. So that's right now. Wait. Isn't that right now? So there's another one? I'm so confused. So what's the plan? Yeah, does any of you have the link? I think he's starting another one, but is this the one I'm already in? Ah! I'm not, fuck that, bro. I can't do no Inception to that crazy music. Elon. Wait, tomorrow? At 8:30? Did he mean to say tomorrow? Because literally right now is 5:30. It says 500,000 people are in here right now. It's the same one. Oh. Oh. No. Get get in the other one? You just got in? Send me the link, dog. They're too busy hypnotizing me. Is letting everyone in? I can't. They don't want me in. Nah, man, this is I'm gonna short circuit, bro. This is what you get every time you tell me to join. I'm gonna fucking join another one until you all short circuit. Yeah, what now? Yeah, man. I think they got your boy. He said they're going to do another. It's the same one. That's crazy, though. There's already 1 million people. There's over 700,000 people. And that's not... Imagine how many people are, like, re-streaming this. All of you in here. Anybody else elsewhere. But I don't know what the real audio... Like, I have no idea what's going on. You guys have crazy audio. I'll mute it there a little bit in the background. I know, isn't the music intense? You guys, some of you said you liked it. You guys are sickos. Absolute sickos. But either way, he said right here, you could see the tweet. Again, we started looking there. They were saying they got DDoSed and all of that. They said they were going to have another feed at 8:30. 8:30 Eastern that's literally like 3 minutes ago. So that's why I'm so confused. I felt like he meant to say tomorrow. I don't know, man. It says 780,000 people are in here, but none of it is loading up. A Camel attack. This is audio only. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any video. Yeah, you were able to join. I got into... This isn't it. If it says 780,000, I don't think this is the one with the god-awful music going... You know, so like that's not it, man. Got back in, so now they're just waiting. I don't think it was a brand new one though, because mine, it's even when I joined the one that pops up here, like I tried another one, but like it was the same audio. It was like the same audio loop. There's a lot of people. I mean, it says Elon is even in here too, but then again, I don't know if this thing is like tweaking out. Elon hasn't tweeted. That was 7 minutes ago. He said it would start in 5 minutes, and then nothing's happened. This is intense. Let's see. Again, he was down to blame the Democrats not too long ago. We tested it with 8 million listeners. 800,000 now. Everyone just keeps joining this one. Here we go. This isn't it. It's starting? What do you mean? Oh, shit. It is. Good call. This is just like Trump at his desk eating fucking KFC. It's just a homeboy breathing. Hello. Do you have it? Get the bucket. Get the bucket. Do you have the thigh? I want the thigh and the drumstick. Thank you. It's good. Let's see. Oh, now he muted. That was funny. That was probably the closest you would have ever gotten to a Donald Trump hot mic, probably. Yeah, he just muted his mic. Yeah, bro, that was it. I'm telling you, that was him eating his fucking KFC. I just picture Donald with a bucket of KFC at his desk right now. I don't know. That's just what I expect. And then I expect Elon dressed up in a fake Iron Man suit sitting on top of a real-life rocket. And we're like, damn, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. It could have been a hot mic. I don't know. Is this it though? Is this like that's crazy? Okay, now it's just awkward. Now this is my speakers are unmuted. Oh, you didn't hear. I need to get you guys unmuted. That's it, bro. This is all the audio just stopped. Wait, Elon left. Oh no, that was the pump fake. Wait, no, he's probably Elon left that one finally. There's gonna be another one. Yeah, you see how that one disappeared? So get ready for it. Oh no, Donald Trump space. Yeah, you need to find the one with Elon. Yeah, Elon left that one. That was the difference. So again, the big one right now with like 900,000. This one had Trump and Elon just in it, and then Trump had his little hot mic there, but then Elon just left. And now Donald is chilling in here. He's muted, and then I'm trying to find the Elon one. I think wherever Elon goes, that'll probably be the new one. Donald Trump. Hello, where's Elon? The Democrats. Rumble? I don't think they're going to pivot to Rumble. That'd be crazy. I mean, nothing. I mean, again, it says 900,000 people, but we don't even know. Now, Elon and Donald Trump are in two different spaces, or at least Elon is no longer in here. And then now there's just no more sound. Previously, we had the music on. I took the music for granted. And now I don't know what's going on. The music at least let me know what was happening. I mean, this is very, what's the word I'm looking for? This is very, like, Banana Republic, if that makes any sense. He's back? Who? Oh, Elon's back? I see Elon in there, I think. Donald Trump, there he is. Well, we're fucking in here. But, like, imagine just, like, silencing, like, a political candidate. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's very, yeah, you guys don't like democracy. I don't know. I don't have any more music. I just have Donald Trump muted. Elon came back. Elon's muted now. So Elon came in as a speaker. Previously, I don't know if he was. You're fired. Get him out. Whoever set this up. These people, awful. Twitter. San Francisco liberals. Can't make a website. All they can do is dye their hair blue. You can't listen. You got Elon blocked. That's the way to stick it to the man, bro. I feel you. San Diego's good, man. It's very good. Anonymous user. Remember? Oh my gosh, that reminds me. Because I don't know if you were trying to go for like the mysterious, creepy vibe, you know? Like name Anon and then like, oh, San Diego. But like, it reminded me. You guys remember when we had that anonymous YouTube guy come in the chat? You remember that? He was host. Nothing's happening, bro. But you guys remember that when he pulled up? Yeah, what if? So where's he at, bro? Bro, this is crazy. We already did the watch list. If you have any questions, let me know. But we have been here for about 40 minutes, and it is I have not heard one El Baghdadi. I have not heard one. He doesn't say build the wall anymore, but my views on border control are still the same. So I don't know. We haven't heard anything. Musk has gotten in here a couple minutes ago and muted it, but it's a shit show right now at Twitter. There's a lot going on in Twitter land. Joe Gebbia, isn't that the Airbnb guy? You're in. I'm in too, but there's no audio. So we're here, but That's what I'm saying. They said they're going to change it. So about 13 minutes ago, they now I missed the music, right? I feel you, bro. But they literally Elon said 13 minutes ago they're going to start a new one, I think, or with less people and then post the audio. Oh. Oh my gosh, Chad. Chad. Oh,
All right, hello everyone. My apologies for the late start. We
wow. All
unfortunately
right, we're
had a
live.
massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers,
We're live. We're
and
live.
saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, um, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. Um, and this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who are just trying to make up their mind. Uh, and so you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So um, uh, honored Donald, great uh, to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then
But when the
you
fuck
do
did
want
Donald start
silencing of
talking
certain
like
voices. Usually,
Mike
those are
Tyson?
voices that
So many.
have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And
Yeah.
so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Um, I mean, maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. Um, you instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, um, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big a part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant, I have to
Not
be honest.
pleasant.
I said there was
I
blood. I
mean,
had
being
more
shot is
blood.
not
I didn't
much
know I had.
fun.
I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, uh, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear,
Yeah,
and because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, "Bullets, bullets!" Get down, because
It's a very bloody
I moved
place.
down pretty nicely, pretty quickly, and we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was
Yeah.
for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God. I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have
Dang,
said
he
that
said,
to
let's
me,
go for the
actually.
evangelicals
But
right now.
it was
Amen.
amazing that I happened
Amen.
to be turned just at that perfect
Yeah.
angle, and all because I
Weird
put
with
down a
Elon. I
chart
think
on
Elon.
immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even
I mean,
more
maybe
now
it's a
than I was.
sign. Maybe
Yeah,
that's a sign, you know.
it's an immigration sign.
You
But
highlighted a serious issue, and
yeah,
at that moment,
that's right.
the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
Well,
your,
the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration. And it
What?
was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good. And after that, it was going to
yeah,
be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was
yeah,
exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey,
yeah,
who, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "All right, that's great." He
Elon.
said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, you know, she said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is a nice thing for
sure,
somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great. And we raised a lot of
yeah,
money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They
I don't
saved
know.
the two, and
The
they were
mic
really hit
sounds like
tough,
really
both of
close to
them,
Donald's
equally.
mouth. He sounds
And we
different.
thought
yeah,
my first question was because I heard bullets flying
It's
over me. I said, "How many people were killed?" Because we had a massive crowd there, a
either on
tremendous
purpose to
yeah,
try to make him
thousands
sound
and
normal,
thousands of
or
people, and there was no land. I
it's
mean,
not.
it was all people. So I said, "How many people have been killed?" Because I knew there were other shots being
Shane
fired,
sure,
Gillis.
and they said, "We don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt." And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper,
yeah,
because he didn't know there was a problem.
Sharpshooter.
He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was
yeah,
able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on
yeah,
he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium, and he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do
yeah,
that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot of people, a lot more people could have been
sure,
badly hurt and killed. So
yeah,
I have to
absolutely,
take my hat off to him because that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23 years, and
yeah,
he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden, he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to
sure,
act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun, very far away. I obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you have
yeah,
to have in that particular work. But he took
absolutely,
aim very
Yeah, there's no
quickly, and
video.
they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long.
Oh shit. Oh, I fucked up. My bad.
that's clearly, he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be, I mean, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth
I'm
does
reading the
a shooter
comments
get
if
on a
you guys
roof
couldn't tell.
130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen?
Well, you know, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people,
Yeah,
because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and
right.
Trump all over
I
it,
saw
and
the videos.
she's screaming, And that guy's got a gun. You know, you saw it probably. There's
Yeah.
a
No, I
guy
saw
up
the
there with
videos.
a
I
gun.
mean, it's like I guess, I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, you know, basically people wandering by pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem
Yeah,
crazy.
well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and
Yeah,
he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun and he fell down. Actually, very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly,
okay.
but he fell down, and he did. From what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun, and the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah,
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf,
yeah,
sinking a 2-foot putt.
yeah. It's not a tough
No,
shot.
it's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the
Yeah,
distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on I think they're screaming, but other people also because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd
yeah,
control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
yeah.
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
Sure.
more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down, and it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and uh,
Yeah,
and a lot of press too. There were many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it, so
yeah.
sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee, you didn't have anybody stampede,
Sure.
nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like I mean, I'll tell you,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people
Sure,
because
sure.
it's so different from what you heard. But so so I was down, but the Secret Service
Yeah,
guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing,
yeah,
and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate, uh, would jump. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that somebody that building should have been covered, and
yeah, yeah. I mean,
that was
I
the
think
big
that
thing.
like, I mean, looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the number one spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like the if you were to pick like what is the favorite place, what if you so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building, the
You're
roof of
right.
that building would be number one.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you can ask for a better
No,
location. It's like number
no, that
one.
would have been the spot.
Um,
You know what people think
yeah,
is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got
yeah,
his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they
yeah,
think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. he ran to the site and he started shooting fast, and maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, he uh,
Yeah, but
he
as you
got
said,
me, but
he
it
would have
could have
hit.
been a much
Yeah,
bigger problem.
but he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near
It
thing.
was a
So,
miracle. If I hadn't
um,
turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would
well,
not be talking to you.
maybe talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. We'd be talking from a
so
different place. But it was a very terrible
What does that
experience.
mean? That was really
The
like
Butler
dark
Hospital,
and
they
weird
did
at
such
the
a
same
great
time.
job. The doctors were so
What the
good.
fuck are they
Everybody was so
saying?
good. There was a
Yeah,
mistake.
what the fuck are they saying? Game
If
right?
somebody knew, because people were hearing, there was
What?
just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know
Uh,
that story now. It's been pretty
yeah,
well.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if somebody could have said,
that was
because they
weird,
oftentimes
dude.
said, like there'd be a
What did
lightning
both of them
storm or
mean?
something. Because I've done, I think over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something," right? And
yeah,
that happens
yeah,
often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it
yeah.
didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was your I think your actions in the heat of fire, and like what I find admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And
Well,
yeah, so
thank you very
yeah,
much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else
yeah,
because it was such a lot of blood, and they were sure that I was hit someplace
No
else. And they were
stretchers.
saying, "Sir,
What kind of bitch do you think I
you were
am? That
hit
means
more
I'm
than the
dead.
ear." I
No,
said,
no
"Nope, I was hit in
stretchers.
the ear. I want to get up.
Fuck that.
Let me get up." And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think, and I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them
yeah,
know that, and they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I
yeah,
got up because they didn't know, was I alive. You really couldn't tell when I stood up before the hand, before the fist in the air. Uh, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
yeah.
It was a
Well,
terrible thing, but it
it
was
was
pretty amazing.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Um, well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration
Right.
slide. Maybe this,
That's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that,
It
since
was. It was.
that slide
You're
saved your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was. I
I
had to
know
be at
that's
that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. Saved by illegal
You know
immigration.
the incredible
100%.
thing though, when you talk
Elon
about
wants to
the
meme this
odds,
so bad.
you had to be exactly
He's
at
like, I
that
love it.
angle. But the
Yeah,
incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
yeah,
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here
yeah,
we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and
yeah, yeah,
that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would
yeah.
have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm
Sure.
honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with the
Well, I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great, these are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you were
prior to
saying,
being so horribly
so,
interrupted.
yeah,
But
yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so it was.
attempt.
But no, but the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that in my last week we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous
Yeah,
chart,
yeah,
but that was the lowest
yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala
Bro,
and
he's wearing
Joe.
a
You
retainer
see what
or
happened.
something.
They just let it go. I had
It's so weird.
remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good.
It's
Guys like
historic.
Tom Homan and Brandon
No.
Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They said it's the best numbers we've
Television.
ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where if many people come in
It's a
there, they have
retainer.
contagious diseases.
I can
We
smell
had
it.
everything passed. If you
I
have
can
a
hear it.
contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country.
I
So
hear
we were
it.
setting
Yeah.
literally records, and
It was very
all I
early
was
my
doing
day.
is showing
Thank
that,
you,
and
thank you.
I use
Thank
it
you. I did. I
sometimes.
noticed it
In
right
this
away.
case, I'm glad I used
Right
it.
away, I
I
said
can
this
tell
is
you
a
that.
different version of Trump.
They were fantastic numbers, but I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That
Sleep
chart
away, sleepy said.
was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal
Yes,
immigration, because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately
100%.
represent your position?
I say it
Okay.
very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's
Yeah.
saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. Uh, no tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you hear 12
Yeah.
million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country,
Yeah.
many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is
Yeah.
insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're
Yeah.
coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad when
Sure.
you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective
Yeah.
government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they
There's
won't
a
do
million
anything.
people
It's
watching
all
this
talk. She's
No.
on
incompetent and
Twitter.
he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that
still
she's
call it
more
Twitter.
incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a
Correct.
secure border. And
And
uh,
secure elections,
you
too.
know, yeah, absolutely secure elections. And so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. Um, and as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, and I think I mean, like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Um, who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, be great contributors to our society and to our economy,
Right.
and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's if somebody's like you know uh, has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're such a target-rich environment. Um, I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in,
Excuse me?
bad things coming here sooner? Because I mean, it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New York, compared to other parts of the world. And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's insane.
It's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but
What's
they're not
happening
allowed
with
to do their
crime?
job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I
They're
hate
not.
to
We
say it
did
because
the
it's
watch
such a
list. Now we're
downer to say it. I
listening.
hate to say it.
Hate to say it.
I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're
I
allowing,
think you're
again,
right.
they're
Yeah.
allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers, they're taking, frankly, their prisoners, they're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're
Yeah.
delivering them into
But
the.
that's what Castro did
Yeah,
that.
well, he did on a
He
much smaller scale.
yeah.
It was a much smaller
Yeah.
scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be.
Yeah.
And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started
Sure.
pulling out the knives, and bad things happen today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for
Yeah.
murder and all sorts of things, and they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people, and it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because now she's trying to say she
Sure.
had nothing to do with it, and she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I
Right.
guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
had nothing to do where the problem
Yeah.
is. But she was
Well.
the
Well.
border czar, and people
Yeah. Yeah.
can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't. She wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known
Yeah.
what happened. You could shut the border down; he wouldn't
Yeah.
even know the difference. But uh, the fact is that she was borders are. But if you don't have to call her
Yes.
that, the fact is you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst
Right.
ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's
I mean,
horrible.
whether it's by whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. So
These are
people can look at my video and say, hey,
Yeah.
these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
These are people that
um,
Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, the caravans are coming in and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing
yeah,
it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not
yeah, yeah,
workers or they don't want to work or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are
yeah,
really brutal people. And they're coming into our country
yeah,
at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years,
yeah. No, no.
we have 20 million people
I
poured
think is
in. It's a terrible
Yeah, I
thing.
think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past, 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country
You don't
left
have a country
at that
left.
point.
Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from
Yeah,
everywhere. And I had to stay in
yeah, I think
Mexico.
this is a super important
Yeah.
point. Like people, it's like basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico. To
No,
be clear,
Mexico
it's
less,
it's just it's just
less
it's
than
just the
the others.
border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything in the
We're
U.S.
already
So
overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York. New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they
yeah,
try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa. From the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they're dropped. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back, but they won't come back.
sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South
Well,
America.
just
They're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not
He
possible
loves
for the United
the
States to
border
absorb,
control talk. I
everyone
told
from
you.
Earth, or
Have no matter
even a
what
few
on any
percent
of
of the
these
rest of Earth.
calls
It's just
lately.
not possible.
He
Well,
just
Elon,
gets into
we're
like
gonna
a
have
15-minute rant
that's,
on
just to
yeah.
order.
finish this up. We're gonna have
Yeah,
the
gotta talk
largest
about it.
deportation in history
There it
of this
is. Let's
country, and we
deport
have no
them,
choice.
all of
Otherwise,
them.
we're gonna have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it. With
F.
in Venezuela and in some of these other countries,
They're
crime
coming
is down
from
50,
Earth.
60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you what, Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% uh, put into the United States. The same with other countries. Some
sure.
are at 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it?
Yeah,
And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly, or I did well in the debate. The first night they said, wow. One of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a
it's
different. Look,
yeah.
she hasn't done an
I mean,
interview since this
yeah,
whole scam started.
well,
And say what you want. This
yeah,
was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice
yeah.
way or we can do it the
No,
hard way.
yeah. No, I mean, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did
Biden.
with this guy,
So
and I'm no
yeah,
fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
well,
And we wouldn't have had
yeah,
Afghanistan. But we think of it,
well, yeah.
you take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have
No,
no
no, you're yeah.
inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no, no. I think you're making an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are, are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do, and do they fear the American president, or is it someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would they rightfully be. I mean, look at that the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, uh, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That's that if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just
Bad
sick people,
people. Bad
frankly. I
people.
mean,
Sick
Schiff,
people,
Schiff is a
frankly.
sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest, I think, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say,
Yeah,
I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to
yeah,
fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
yeah,
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. he shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down, and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Right?
sense. It's inconsistent.
I can't believe. Is this real? Is there
Certainly
still?
but I mean, I think it's just
Is there
worth
still
emphasizing.
1.2 million people listening? Oh shit! Why does it refresh? Yeah, bro, that's crazy. So hold on, I'm still taking.
His president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of
and
them.
that puts the
Yeah.
whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one
It's
of
a
them,
big
and I
deal.
know them well. I know Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you,
This is kind of crazy.
people
Trump
say,
and
"Oh,
Elon,
this is terrible."
if you think
said,
about it,
I'm
and there's
not
a lot
saying
of people
anything
still
good or
listening.
bad.
1.2
They're at the
million
top
is
of their
crazy.
game. They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious.
And this has been
and they're
going
gonna
on for
protect their
like 30
country, Whether they
minutes.
love their country, they probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see
Kamala.
Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. You know, when I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass. They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas.
Well, it's
they
down
had no money for
technically, but
Hezbollah. They
it's
had
moving
no
up a
money
little
for any
bit
of these
prior.
instruments of terror.
Down
And
0.55.
it was
Right
amazing.
now in the futures.
In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to
SPY
believe,
futures
actually.
barely up
Especially when you look
0.04.
at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil. But they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day.
Vladimir.
You cannot do it.
Don't do it,
And
Vladimir.
I told him things that what I do.
Don't do it, Vladimir.
And he said, no way. And I said, way.
Way. Don't
And
do
you know,
it.
it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. You know, getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, you know, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, you know, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they
Those
were.
like
No, they were
absolutely...
epic. Everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger, and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden, I got a call from him, and they said they want to meet. They want to meet me, and we met.
Yeah.
As you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam, and I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage. So
yes, I mean, it's because, you know, I mean, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
and
he and I had a good relationship. Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. You know, I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are, and controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat. The biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise one eighth of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disaster.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. They've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you I could have stopped that. And a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity, and it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from other
100%.
countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important.
Does RTX go up tomorrow now?
The election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they
talking
can't
new
buy
policy.
groceries. because they don't
We
have
thought
enough
new
money to
an
buy
Iron Dome
groceries.
for the
The
U.S. That's
inflation
something
has
new.
killed them. Food
That's
prices
new.
are up 50, 60, even 100% in some
It
cases.
sounded like old days.
And this
We getting
stupid
ideas.
administration allowed
Ideas
this
off
to
Twitter.
happen,
Hey, Trump.
and it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a
Yeah, yeah.
forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on
No, they
you.
could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes,
But the
absolutely.
big thing now is the
Well,
economy, Elon.
yeah,
And as much as
yeah,
I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it
yeah,
doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using
yeah.
all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing
Right.
that's happening. And we'll end that
Well,
quickly.
I think a lot of yeah, a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply, and if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services,
right.
that's inflation. So really, we need to have we need to
Tell him,
reduce
Elon.
our government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly
Right.
every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceed the defense budget. It's on the order of $1 trillion,
It's interest.
and it keeps
I
growing.
rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military, did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were, and bombers that were 70 years old. And we did a great job in that. Then by the way, we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers
Yeah.
of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy
Yeah.
prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now your cars don't
Gasoline.
require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you.
Thank
That
you.
doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the
Thank you.
gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has
Sure.
to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to
Yeah.
drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went
Drill,
back to
baby,
drilling
drill.
because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything.
Yeah.
And I know you're a big fan of the AI.
Yeah, more
And
people
I
are
have
tuning
to say
in.
that AI, and this is
1.3
shocking
million
to me,
listeners.
but AI requires twice the energy that the country already
crazy.
produces for everything. So you're going to have to build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China.
Oil and
because that's our
futures aren't
primary
really reacting to any
competitor
of
for
this right now.
on the AI.
But we'll
You're
see.
going to need a lot of
And then watch
electricity.
RTX
You're going to
and
need tremendous
Yeah.
electricity.
New Iron
like
Dome coming soon.
almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Nuclear.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government
Right.
overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government spending
Yes.
and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible and so the country lives within its means, just like a
The
person does.
waste is incredible, and nobody
It
negotiates
is.
prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general walks in, sir, would you please sign this document? And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now they're
Wow.
highly sophisticated.
That's
They're
insane.
even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's
Sure.
5.7.
That's a crazy
It's a
number.
crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the
Wow.
exact same plane,
50%
I
almost.
saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other
Exactly.
items. And
Multiply it by
yeah,
a
the
zillion,
numbers are
and yeah.
astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would
Dopey
be great to
suckers.
just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the
Bro,
taxpayer money, to the taxpayers'
I'll tell you guys
hard-earned
after, but
money, is
like,
spent in a good way.
Elon is going to make so much money if
And
Trump
I'd be
wins.
happy to help out on such a commission
I'd
Yeah,
love
if
it.
it were
see?
formed.
Yeah.
Well, you're the greatest
Listen.
cutter. I
Yeah,
mean, I
look
look
at
at what
they
you
already
do. You
teaming
walk
up.
in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on
Yeah.
strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But if you look at Argentina,
Well, I'd be happy to
yeah,
help
by the way,
out.
Elon said, put me
congratulations.
on
I
the
just
team,
looked at the
son.
number of people that are listening to you and
I'm
I
ready.
chat. We'll call it a chat.
Chat.
But congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an
Bro,
interesting
Trump guy's
character.
pretty gangster.
The
He said, I'll
new
call it chat.
head of
He
a
said, what's
place
up,
called
chat?
Argentina.
He said, what's up,
He's
chat?
a big, he's great. And
Yeah.
he's a big MAGA fan. You know that. He ran on MAGA. And
That's
he took
great.
it to an extreme, too.
That's
He ran
great.
on MAGA. And I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything. But he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing
Yeah.
they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like
Yes,
2,000%. And they had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to
Yeah.
have that pretty
I'm a
soon.
fan of Trump, but I'm still
I
like,
think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100
I'm not
years.
getting a hat.
They say it's 48
You know what I'm
years.
saying?
I don't believe it. I think
I'm
we have
still
the worst.
like closet
They don't
Trump,
include a lot
like,
of the
I'm
items
gonna
that
vote
should
for
be
Trump.
included.
But like, I'm not
know.
wearing a fucking MAGA hat.
Well,
I can't I don't think I
just
could
from,
do that.
from
Like,
government overspending and not spending taxpayer money
Yeah.
effectively, and having just so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Milei is doing is he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense, and we're Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement
That's right.
in prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. In the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves
is there a Trump outfit?
Everything, oil, everything. And
Don't tell me there's like a Trump
should be prosperous,
sweatsuit.
but if the government's wrong,
that'd be crazy.
It impoverishes the people. And
I can
so
kind of
I think
imagine
we
it,
should
but then I'm
not
like,
be
oh
complacent
shit.
in the United States and thinking that and
I
taking
feel like
our
it'd be like an
prosperity for
Adidas
granted.
tracksuit
Because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the
with a
ground.
mix of
And
Jake from
that's
State Farm.
that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of
Amen,
education.
Elon.
So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Uh, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more.
More
And
per
what I'm going to
pupil.
do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where
Yeah.
where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California.
Newscum.
He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great
Terrible.
with education. But of the
Yeah.
50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15
Yeah.
of them, or
And you
20
hear
of
what he
them
said
will
before
be as
that.
good as
He
Norway.
said close the
Norway's
Department of
considered great.
Education.
You can name them. I mean, they're
That's
so
a pretty
good.
bold
Some
claim.
of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation.
Yeah,
But if you think about it,
yeah.
you'll have some
Yeah,
of
yeah.
these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And
Yeah.
these people don't care
Well,
about the
yeah.
students in these, faraway states. And it would be,
Well,
it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally
right.
Move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through it. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But
Yeah.
some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that
Yeah.
the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little
Yeah, yeah.
monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. Give us
Yeah.
a little English, right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, to what? I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul.
It's
sales.
actually
It's
amazing.
just people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, I mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? The taxes are among the highest
Yeah.
taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I mean, I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well,
That's
you're
the
going to
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them to change.
You remember the area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very nasty for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business. and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So what is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of
Yep.
these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that I mean the larger point here, too, as you're saying, like a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money,
Yeah,
and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation, and if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and
yeah.
that's a really big
Well, the
deal.
people that got hurt
Um,
worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. When I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago,
sure.
when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
Yeah,
it's sticker
I
shock.
think
They
it.
call it
Yeah,
sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living
Right.
standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation. Like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the '80s, but it's been 40 years since we had
That's right.
anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's an opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation.
Yeah.
And
Well, Elon,
those two things, yeah, those are the big
yeah,
deals.
we set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did
Yeah,
radical cuts on all of that, and a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. We had the best economy ever, maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in, and we had to focus on that, and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But if had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But
Wuha, wuha, wuha.
had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle income people, not only businesses. But we did it for
sure.
businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were
That's
going
what we were gonna
to we were going
do.
to make a fortune. And then
Make a lot.
the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. We got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for almost 3 years. We had the
Yeah.
great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that uh, African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and
Sure.
we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about like, maybe my views on, climate change
Yeah,
and oil and gas, because I mean, I think they're probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So it's I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry, and I the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other
sure.
countries, and it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there for. It's not infinite. Um, and there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to like stop farmers from farming, or you know uh, prevent people from having steaks, or
Right,
basic stuff
right.
like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone,
I agree.
in
How
my opinion.
crazy is that where
I mean,
you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is
yeah,
a
that's
little
silly.
crazy, but it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car. Fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to. But I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah,
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried.
Right.
Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove to get rid of it. He ended
yeah,
it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure,
yeah.
really good stuff. And, they end it. So I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during
I
that
yeah.
during that
I mean,
time,
my
something will
estimate.
come around that will be
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and my estimate would be, a little more aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. Um, but I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. Uh, I mean, I think some of that, it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3
Right.
to say 5. And then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2. Um, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so it's that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live in. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over, and like, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Without, people can still have a stake, and they can still drive gasoline
Sure.
cars, and it's okay. It's like, it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe
Tesla plug.
that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, this sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out sexy. It's probably the most expensive joke out there. But I don't know, I like cheesy humor. So, but I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's
Yeah.
let's work towards a better future, and we can do so without demonizing
Right.
people.
I'm okay.
You know.
It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go up, and so they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars, and it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first, but it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good,
Yeah.
at least in certain areas of the country where you have or the world
Sure.
where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me,
Sure.
that's an immediate problem because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear, and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president, because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number one, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear, very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even
Yeah.
surpassing. But to me, the biggest
Yeah.
problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk
Yeah. Yeah.
about
Nuclear power is underrated. It's
I'll
awesome.
prevent World War
Yeah.
III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is
Yeah.
a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is
Absolutely. You're
underrated,
right.
and it's actually, people have this
Yeah.
fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. Um, and if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining
Right.
operation, and there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
Maybe they'll have
sort
to
of
change the
have it,
name. The name is just, it's a rough name. There are some areas
yeah, it's a rough
like when
name.
you see what happened in,
Good bad
right,
branding. The
we'll have to
branding's rough.
rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. You know,
No,
no,
I
it has
think
a, hey, it has a branding problem. You know, when you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
when you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they, there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No,
Yeah.
But
that's not true.
but you're
Well,
right
no,
about it. It's
Elon,
the
that's
main
not
thing.
true. That's
it's
not
actually
true.
not that bad. So like after
Elon,
Fukushima happened in
technically, it's
Japan,
not true.
like people
Being
were asking me in
specific.
California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually it's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. Um, and I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant, and
Yeah, but you haven't
because the
been
danger
feeling
is
so
just
well lately, and I'm worried about it.
no, but I mean,
I'm
it's just
only kidding.
it's
I'm only
fine,
kidding.
It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right.
it's
Well, that's
clearly
great.
not
That's great.
something that
That's
um,
great.
so it's not as scary as people think, basically. But
Yeah.
um, let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on? Oh, like lawfare. I think
Well,
we need to be
eh,
concerned about.
what they've done to
Um,
this country.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we just won the big
I mean,
case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled
yeah,
Fani, Fani, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, the one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before,
Sure.
and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare.
Yeah,
It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never
yeah,
happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens? What
yeah,
happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does
yeah,
he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad, and it's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing
right,
that
right.
for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't
Yeah.
lift it. The whole thing is
Well,
crazy.
he's clearly not, I mean, he's clearly like we just
Oh
don't have a
no, I was
president. Like
You
muted
that's
don't
for a
have
that's
a
little
that's
bit.
basically the
president, and
case.
she's going to be
But
worse
yeah,
than
I'm
him
not.
because
Once my
she
food, my
is
girlfriend's coming here
a
with
San
food, then I'm
Francisco
leaving.
liberal who destroyed
This
San
is good though.
Francisco, and
We
then as
listened for
attorney
a
general, she
while,
destroyed
and they
California.
started late, and
You
we got
talk
the
about
watch list.
location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail,
Well, still
where
here
you
for
kill
now. I still
somebody.
got a
I
little
mean,
bit
we
of
have
time.
states there you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our
Yeah.
country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than
Well,
Trump.
yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's
You know, she
yeah.
wants to release all the
Yeah.
prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came
Yeah, I
out
just saw
today.
that.
She
Yeah.
doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel, and the wall. You know, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200
Yeah.
miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have open borders, and now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true.
Yeah,
This is simply
no,
not
and
true.
everybody
Yeah,
knows
it's
it's
simply not
not true.
true.
It's a disgrace that she can
Yeah.
say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie
Um,
Sanders. She is considered
yeah,
more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic. And if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of
yeah,
the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. You don't. Now all of a sudden
yeah,
she's
yeah.
No
saying, "No,
fracking.
I will. I really
Don't
want to see
frack.
fracking." The
Get
day
back.
that
Don't
if they
frack
got
like
in,
that.
the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. You know, like like the
Yeah.
Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. You know, both sides. That was a hard
Yeah.
thing to do. Unification.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. What does that say?
I think it's highly
That's
I forgot
disrespectful.
Elon went
And
to
I
that.
say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, you know, is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you
I'm
see
sticking with
tonight, I mean,
that.
as we're doing this,
Head
I'm seeing
examined.
reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. You know, their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's
Yeah.
appropriate, swamped. But they
Yeah.
swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles,
Sure.
they can't defend themselves. You know, they just obliterate the whole
Yeah.
place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
she'll be worse than him because she's a believer
Yeah. No,
in
I
being
think you're right.
radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her
So I
her
think
running
that,
mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay, Now,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all I
that's
have to
weird.
hear. Tampons in
That's
boys'
weird.
bathrooms. And that means she
Yeah,
believes in that too. I mean,
yeah, it's not. That's
she
not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as the president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. Um, and uh, and I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election. And I mean that's I'm just stating my opinion. Now
They're still going. This is
you may have
great.
seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying, to not have disinformation on the like during this discussion that we're having, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries, and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. You know, we have a deficit with them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're
They're not
not as tough
united.
as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, you know, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. It's if you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. When you say as us, and they're in,
Yeah,
and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the
yeah,
Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is uh, they're in for 70 something million. I think even less than that, billion, and we're in
Billion.
for
Billion.
about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But
yeah,
they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States
yeah,
was the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went
yeah,
in and I said, you
yeah,
got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in, and
yeah. I think
Take the
a lot of
hit.
the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses,
and then we get
even though
taken advantage of on trade. So think
yeah,
about it.
well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's it's like then okay, well,
These
why
guys
is the United
really
States
don't
paying
fuck with NATO.
disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make
I'm
sense. That's
done. No, we
unfair,
already covered
and
everything. I mean,
that
unless
is
you
an
have any
appropriate thing to
questions.
address.
Well,
Um,
when you talk about
so
cost
I thought
cutting and
this is, I
savings
mean,
and
it's kind
everything
of a
else,
big deal.
I
This
mean,
is the beginning of
honestly,
the Trump
look,
Elon
there's nobody that
bromance.
feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky.
I
He was
know,
very honorable to me
Zelensky.
because when they went with the
Big
Russia
Z.
hoax and they said I had a
ZZ.
phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and said, "Oh,
You could have
he was very
grandstanded.
threatening." He said, "No, it was a
Grandstand.
very nice phone call." I called him
Standeroonie.
up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are
yeah, yeah,
lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
yeah,
Now they've taken advantage
yeah,
of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes
Why is he
it's hard
talking like
because they don't wanna
Daffy
print
Duck?
it, you know, like we're having a
Sorry.
great conversation right now.
It
Kamala
is
wouldn't have
late.
this
I'm getting
conversation.
tired
She
too. I'm
can't because
getting
she's not
tired too.
No.
smart.
Fucking you
You
heard
know,
it.
she's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this
Just
conversation.
randomly break
And
out
Biden,
into
we don't even
Daffy
have to
Duck.
talk about it. I mean,
Out of
he
no
couldn't have this
despicable.
conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I?
It's
Where am I
late,
going?"
man. It's late. Biden don't
anyway,
even
but,
know
no,
what a
he wouldn't
fucking
have this.
syllable
That's true.
is.
Not a lot of people would
But
have
still.
this conversation, but we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that we can have a conversation, and
Yes, you
I'm
can actually
able
have a
to get it out
conversation.
because I get
I think
treated
this
unfairly
is
by
a
the
really
press.
big point. You can actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's it's
This is like talking to an NPC.
no.
So it's just impossible.
Well, but think of it.
Does
We
Trump
need a
know what an
man
NPC is?
or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong Un. We had dinner. We had everything, and he really liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way,
Dinner
he's
and
he's the
everything.
absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
Let me
sure.
tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss.
I thought
But we had a good relationship, and
you saw what
he
he
doesn't
had,
like
I seen
Biden. He considers
that
him
I've
just
been
a stupid
looking
man. He
at.
said he's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say
It has
but
to
I
be
guess
the
you are. You should
compression,
be allowed
right?
to
It
say
has to
it.
be the
But
audio.
we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you
It has
imagine? Now
to be the
know
audio
Chairman
glitch, right?
Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or
No, it's
even
silly. It would be
standing
silly.
together? It is the whole concept
Yeah.
is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible, but she's getting a free ride. I
It
saw a
would-
picture of
Yeah,
her
yeah.
on Time
Ah.
magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and
It has to be
Yeah.
because,
she
like,
looked very
bro,
much like
I haven't
our
heard him
great
go.
first lady, Melania. Didn't look.
Yeah.
She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman. So
Yeah,
we'll leave
so
it
I
at
don't know.
that,
It
right?
has to be until I hear him.
Yeah,
go,
well, maybe
This
I
sounds
think
like it's about
part of
to
what,
happen.
People in America want to.
You know what I'm
People
saying?
in America want to feel
Sounds like
excited and
it's
inspired about
there.
the future. They want to feel like the
It's
future
true.
is going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than
All right, man.
we've done in the past. Reach
Right.
new heights
My girl
that
here
make you proud to be an American
in my
and
foolish.
excited about the future.
They want the
And,
American
I think
dream
this-
back. They want the American dream back. More
Holy
important
crap!
than
We've been
anything
live
else.
for 2 hours.
It's like
Yeah,
you
we
don't
gotta
have
go,
that
man.
today
There's no
because
way.
the people.
Yeah,
they've
we've been here for
just
2 hours
sucked.
and 15
They see
minutes.
incompetent people running
All right,
our.
guys. I love you.
The Biden thing is very interesting.
You have a
People
wonderful
just found him
evening.
to be incompetent. And when I debated
I'm
him,
leaving. You
I
can
was
go to
like,
Twitch.
is this for real?
There's no
It was-
way. I don't.
Yeah, it was just
Trump
absurd.
is out.
But I think there are
Out-trumpingly.
like some.
It's the viewers are
grand
dropping here
projects that-
too.
that
1.3 to
we could do. I mean, I
1.1.
think like we could build a
All right, you
base
have a
on the
good
moon.
time.
We could send
I
American
love you.
astronauts to Mars. We
Right.
Be
could,
safe.
build
I'll see you in the
high-speed
AM.
connections that are
And good
more
night.
advanced than anything else in the world between
Bye.
our cities, so people have fast transport.